I became homeless when I was 17 years old. All my shit was thrown out in the garage, and I knew from that point forward that there was no looking back. There was no family I could depend on. There was only one friend that was really helping me throughout the process because she worked at hotels. She was getting me discounts. I was busting my ass as a waitress, working 40 plus hours a week on my feet all day. If you guys work in the service industry, y'all know how that shit is. It's not for the weak. I was doing all of that. I was living in hotel rooms, and it was probably one of the lowest points in my life. I had been abandoned by my parents at 15 years old. We had been dealing with CPS since I was 12. They had went to jail. A whole bunch of other things happened. I kept getting into fights with my mom. I was talking to older men. I had been diagnosed with CPTSD, anxiety, depression, and when I was 17, like, that was kind of like the last straw. Like, there was nobody else I could go to, and I knew that I could not depend on my family to even take care of me. And y'all, it's the hardest thing when your parents abandon you or they neglect you or abuse you in some sort of way, because they are technically the only people that are responsible for you in this world. Because if they fuck up or if they decide, like, fuck you, then it's like you're on your own. And that was kind of one of the things that really sunk in as soon as I became homeless, was like, oh shit, like, I'm really on my own. Like, I really have to figure this out on my own. And I had no idea how I was going to do that. Previously, when I was 15 years old, I had just started getting into law of attraction and manifestation, and you guys, it fucking saved me. Like, seriously, it was in the middle of a pandemic, 2020, active CPS case ongoing, and I remember just scrolling on my YouTube channel, and I came across certain videos talking about how I could manifest my desired reality and kind of just, you know, protect myself with spell work and divination tools. It interested me so much. It kind of like lit my soul on fire, and I just knew that this was something that I was supposed to be learning, something that I was supposed to be doing. I started off making little potions and spell work with herbs to protect myself from my mom's energy, because I swear to God, you guys, it felt like a dark cloud was hanging over me whenever I was with my family. It just felt so dense and so negative, and I felt like bogged down, like a weight on my shoulders. And I remember just doing that spell work and trying to protect myself. I remember writing down 369 method. I was living in a group home for like 2 weeks because I had ended up like self-harming to get out of my household, and I wrote down, like, I'm out of my house, I'm in a safe place, I'm out of my house, and I'm in a safe place. And shortly after, my mom had gotten like so irritated one day. She called my grandpa, because I was staying with him, and she was like, I want her gone. And my grandpa was like, I don't know what you did, but your mom said pack your bag. She doesn't want you here anymore, and to go live with your sister. And for me at the time, that was like, whoo, hallelujah. Because I did not want to stay there, y'all. It was so abusive, and it was just not a good environment for me. And then it just became this whole journey, and like I said, nobody's really responsible to take care of you, and I was a lot to deal with. So yeah, when I was in the hotel rooms, I had previously bought this journal, and I remember I was so sick of crying. I was so sick of being sick and tired that I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna write down my dream reality. I wrote down shit from February 26th of 2023. Y'all see that? I'm not making this shit up, y'all. This is February 26th of 2023. I wrote down things in every single category, y'all. I said I wanted my soul tribe, my friends, my career, because I was still doing social media at the time. I was posting on YouTube. You guys can actually scroll down, and 2 years ago, you'll see a video by my 17-year-old self, y'all. I was so pissed and angry, like, it's crazy. So yeah, I manifested like my career, my house, and I just wanted all of these things, financial freedom. And I scripted, like, they have scripting prompts in here. So I scripted out what this reality would look like and feel like. And then one of the questions is, what signs will the universe show me so that I'll know my desire is on the way? Signs are something that I've always gotten, you guys. And I remember going to this tarot reader way back before I became homeless, and I got a reading from her, and she said something to me that stuck with me forever. She said, although you weren't loved in this physical 3D world, you are loved, very loved in the spiritual world. And I felt that, like, I felt it in my body. I still feel it in my body, like I'm getting chills. And it just provided me a sense of safety and security, and I think that's why spirituality, metaphysics, it's been my safe haven, and it's been something that's comforting to me, because it's like I'm communicating with life. I've never been into religion. I've never kind of went into that whole scene. God communicates with me through signs and synchronicities. God communicates with me through like coincidences and shit that just happens. Because while I was homeless, I was getting so many signs than I've ever gotten before. As soon as I wrote this down, I got the exact sign. It was a yellow goldfinch. And I remember after I had wrote that down, I was scrolling on my YouTube channel and I had found a card with the exact bird that I was manifesting on there. And I was just, oh my God. And I wrote down, I said, my life is going to be like heaven on earth. I will experience heaven on earth. I will live a life of luxury and financial freedom. I will become the first millionaire in my family. I'm gonna break all these generational curses. Like, I knew this at 17 years old, and I had signs written down. And when I was working as a waitress, I still have this video posted on my channel to this day on my YouTube. It's like all the way down. I said that I had an encounter with an angel because I went to work, did not want to go in that day, and I had ended up serving a table where this lady, like, she introduced herself to me and she told me to like take off my glasses, and she basically told me like my whole life without even knowing me. She was like, yeah, how would I know this? And at the time I wasn't really thinking about it, but afterwards I was like, holy shit, that was an angel. And then also I had gotten like certain bookmarks. Like, this guy was selling bookmarks and he just told me to pick one, and one of them was like a Bible verse from Deuteronomy, and it said, God will always be with you. And so I was just getting little synchronicities and signs like that that really kept me going on my path and gave me hope in a time where there was darkness. So yeah, when I was homeless, I had gotten like the most signs and synchronicities that I had ever gotten, and it really kind of helped me and supported me on my path. And then shortly after, I had ended up calling a shelter, and I had gotten in on emergency placement. The person who kicked me out had actually ended up calling CPS again, and a worker literally came to my job and they were like, you're 17, you need to find somewhere to go, and if you don't, then I'm gonna be in your life until you do. And it was just so irritating. But I had ended up telling her that me and my friend called the shelter and they put me on a wait list, and so the worker had actually ended up like pulling some strings and getting me in there on emergency placement. And this program is a really good program. Like, you get 18 months of pretty much free shelter, and we would have rent, but that rent would be for us like a savings account that we would get at the end of the 18 months. And they provided food, they provided bus tokens. Like, it was the most ideal program in there, and I think honestly it's the best program in my county. It's called Ozone House, and I will live, breathe, and die by Ozone House because they are so amazing, and all of the staff there really truly became my family. And this is when I really started like locking in on my dreams and my goals and my visions, because I wanted to be of service in some way. Like, I loved social media, I loved sharing my story, I loved helping other people, and so I really kind of started locking in on social media, being consistent with it. I had quit the job at being a waitress because it was too far, and I was at the time working 2 jobs, taking the bus, interested in going to college, and I was just doing all these things, and I decided, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna go all in on my dreams. So I was posting consistently on all social media platforms, and I had actually ended up getting an opportunity to go on the Dr. Phil show. It was talking about different generational work ethics, but I really went on there to talk about law of attraction and manifestation. I went in front of a bunch of corporate people telling them that they did not have to work hard for money and that money was their birthright. Obviously that did not land well with them, but I had no idea really. I didn't even do any research into the topic. I just knew that it was about generational work ethic, and I had my own message to share. Like, I remember meditating and praying on it, and I was so freaking nervous, you guys. It was my first time ever going on national TV, and I was scared shitless. I came back, and shortly after I got my car, my apartment, everything just kind of started falling into place. And even throughout the program, you guys, I've had people tell me like, wow, you're so lucky, how did you do that? Or wow, you really are gonna be the first millionaire. Like, I've had people see my vision, I've had people see my light and see like just my potential and what I was really meant for, and that also kept me encouraged and really kept me going on my journey. And I say all of this to say, despite everything that I went through, I still had a little, it was tiny, y'all, a little mustard seed of faith, because I was surrounded by so much chaos and destruction. My life was literally upheaved and shit was just, it was like I was standing in the middle of a fucking tornado. Everything around me was collapsing. Everything around me was falling apart. But something within me was a little bit calm. I had just a little bit of faith in there. And I knew that like I could get myself out of this situation. I knew about manifestation, I knew about law of attraction, and I just went for it, you guys. I was scared, I was fearful, I had doubt, I had worry, I had anxiety. I was in the homeless shelter, you guys, surrounded by lack and limitation. I was literally below the poverty line, but I still had the courage and the audacity to say, I'm going to become the first millionaire in my family. I even told the producers on the Dr. Phil show, I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. And actually, one of the producers, Stephanie, had told me as soon as I make my first million, I can go back on the show. I was that serious. Some people might say it's luck, but it's pure faith. When I was in that situation, I had no other choice but to lean on what I could not see. It was like I was driving in pitch black, pure darkness, and I could only see as far as the headlights would go. And I just kept having to take step after step after step, even though I didn't know where it was going to lead. And I had to guard and protect my vision. I didn't tell anybody, you guys. Even when I went on the Dr. Phil show, I told not a single soul. They knew that I was going, the shelter knew that I was going to Dallas, but they didn't know what for. They were like, girl, what are you doing? But I never told anyone that I wanted to be a millionaire. I never told anyone that I wanted to awaken or ascend consciousness. Because remember when I told you that I said I wanted to create heaven on earth and I wanted to experience a life of luxury and freedom? Well, that vision has evolved over time, and now I know that I'm here to help you guys create heaven on earth as well as myself, because your power has been hidden from you for too long. Society has been wrapped and veiled in illusion for too long, and I'm here to bring the truth. I'm here to shed light on the illusions. I'm here to help you awaken and ascend your consciousness so you can step back into a powerful co-creator, because that is the power that I recognize throughout all of these situations, that I am a creator and I get to decide how I want to feel. I get to decide what I want to create, despite what everybody else is telling me. They could be telling me to go one way, but I'm gonna go this way. I've never been one to follow the crowd. I never fit in, even with my family, even in friends. I used to be the person who would sit in the bathroom and eat lunch, you guys, because I was a loner. I only had a couple friends at a time, literally maybe only one or two friends at a time. And so I was never one to have my life handed to me, but through my trials and tribulations, through my pain, I've alchemized it into my power. So my goal and my dream isn't even about me anymore, it's about the collective, so that we can create heaven on earth, because every choice that you make ties into everything, ties into how we experience our world. Whether you choose to believe it or not, we are reflections of each other. So anything that you do, you're not just doing for you, you're doing for everybody else. And I am here to serve as a testimony. You hear my story, you hear my pain, you know what I've been through. That's not even all of it. That's not even all of it. But I want to serve as a testimony, which is why God has called me to share my story. That's why I keep getting opportunities to speak on stages. The Dr. Phil show was not the first, and it won't be the last stage I'll speak on. And I know that because I've quantum leaped into my desired reality. I've completely shed my old identity, and I am now my higher self. My higher self has literally hijacked my body, and now I'm taking actions. I'm doing things that align with this higher version of myself, and it's only a matter of time. People will ask me, how did you do it? And this is how. All of my videos that I've made, everything that I've talked about, this is exactly how. I am here to lead an inner revolution, because when you change yourself, you change the world. And stay tuned for my next video. My camera's about to die, but stay tuned for my next video, because I'm going to be breaking down how to actually quantum leap into your desired reality step by step. But I just want to share this so that you guys can get a glimmer of hope, and you know that faith will carry you through. Even though the situation may seem rocky right now, even though you may be going through something that is so painful, and you may be experiencing a dark night of the soul, or you're just at your lowest moment and you need some hope, let this be your hope. You will be okay. Things will work out for you. If I could just go back and tell my 17-year-old self to just keep going. This, I hope this reaches some 17-year-olds or some 18-year-olds going through a tower moment right now. Keep going. Focus on what you want instead of what you don't want, and know that everything happens for a reason and you will make it out on the other side. I am proof that you can. I love you. Check out my offerings and the links in the description, and I will see you guys next week.